For this particular animation, I just started off with the bass sway that everybody did for this trend. Admittedly, I did end up letting this bass just sit and rot for a bit, but it was a good jumping off point. From there, I began to think about what I wanted to do for this animation. I started off with my version of HLVRAI, but I wasn't too sure how to continue on in the animation. If I should do other designs, characters, or poses, all of it was unclear. At one point, I considered altering the sway periodically during the song, but that was difficult to do without the music. Additionally, I considered even switching HLVRAI out for my own mascot to represent how my AU is based off me. However, neither of these ideas got used. Instead, I completed the main sway cycle this animation meme is known for, and then went in and animated additional pieces for background action. These additional animations just included silly interactive segments like HLVRAI shrugging and laughing at the notion of what it's like to be human, him considering how to be competent before ducking from a strike across the screen, and him in his HLVRAI getup, mad that he lost. I mostly just added in these additional pieces because I felt something was missing, and when looking at other people's creations, I noticed people often having additional interactive elements, so I decided to add some too. That, for the most part, is all I did for the animated segments in the video. After drawing them out, I just colored them in for contrast, and then recorded it playing so that the watermark on Ibis Paint wouldn't pop up. After gathering clips for the intro, main segment, and background pieces, I then moved on to adding in everything together so that it followed in time to the song. From there on, I began to work on the actual bass animation. And as you can see, it's still decently plain, as all that's there is the prior animated segments and background footage, but it all comes together after this. To start, I began with actually inserting the previous animations I recorded within Ibis Paint. Not exported because that will leave a watermark. To do this, I screen captured it while playing, edited out the taskbar, and then I green screened the background so that only the color behind the character appeared within the video. After doing this, all that was essentially left was to add in text and additional smaller effects like the beam of light colliding with the text on screen or HLVRAI's intro animation actually zooming in. Most of this, as mentioned before in my Sinking Town animation, was used via the transitions you can create with the diamond button or the pre-made transition animations within the app. I truthfully believe that if you just experiment with all the fancy buttons in an app, then you can make something look cool. And you can 100% see that within any of my older animatics on this channel, because I just throw out transitions willy-nilly because I think they look cool. Does it sometimes flop? Definitely. But using all of it and finding out what does what ultimately helps you in the long run and ends up giving you better effects than you probably previously thought you could make with just poorly done 2D frames at like 3 FPS. Additionally, my word of advice is to not let people make you think you have to do full-fledged animation to make something beautiful. I personally grew up loving animation and attempting to animate frequently. However, the hard truth is that it is draining, especially for frame-by-frame hand-drawn animation. And as I grew up, I realized I could literally just set it up like a storyboard. I didn't need all that extra movement to get a story behind, and it most certainly helped me gain some of my creativity back. It made me realize how much I love just coming up with ideas, and in the end, I slowed down on animating, and only within recent years have I begun to re-implement it. But this time around, I understood that it wasn't a necessity, just an additional feature for others to see within my work. So with that, I believe the main thing you should take from this tutorial is to just get crazy with it. Who cares if something looks dumb or has so many transitions it's hard to comprehend what's going on? That's all what learning is about. And in the end, you'll find out what you do and don't like, and you'll make something wonderful. At long last, we are at the final part of this video. The last step of this animation is honestly just adding in filters and video effects for ambience. One of the major things about this particular animation is just the background because the bass sway is simple. However, take it from me and understand that CapCut has all sorts of frames for these kinds of videos. Now, it definitely, 100%, would be extremely cool to make your own customized background and framing if you have the time. However, that's more stress on you to actually finish the video. For me, I personally took the easy way out because I didn't want to make more assets. While working on an amazing digital circus video edit, I came to realize CapCut actually had extremely good footage effects like TV static, warping, and color effects. This particular part was used for the intro as shown to the left. Following that, I mainly used fog effects on the second half of the animation. This in some ways was a mistake on my part because my additional animations became obscured, but in the end it gave off the correct effect, so I left it in. These were the main two editing segments I did as I just tried out different effects and overlays. However, the hugest part of this animation was simply color correcting the video as my assets didn't correctly theme with the rest of the video. This additionally requires some trial and error, but most times you can get a somewhat correct filter by just inputting the theme you're actually going for within the search bar. However, once more, it takes a lot of combining and trial and error if you want to actually get a feel for the app. Congratulations! You made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I do apologize if this tutorial wasn't very well as the last one. I once again worked on this animation off camera and then made a video about it months after it was completed, so this is a bit of a late post. Regardless, I hope this may have helped someone who really wants to get into video editing or animation. And if not, well then you can just listen to me babble about random things. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.